Hello everybody, my name is Foodle, and today we're going to be doing one of my Steam Summer Sale summaries, because in case you don't pay attention to gaming news, it's the end of June, which means Steam Summer Sale. Now, much like last year's sale and the year before, these deals are continuous. The Steam Summer Sale lasts from June 21st until July 15th at noon Central Time. There's not going to be any daily deals or new discounts. What's on sale now and what the prices are at is what's going to be until July 5th at noon Central Time. So you're not in a huge rush to pick up these games, but I'd still buy the ones I'm recommending because I'm recommending them. So I've got 10 games that I'm going to go and recommend. These aren't necessarily the best games or the best discounts. These are just the games I think are worth the prices that they're charging and have a significant amount of entertainment value. So without further ado, in no particular order, here's 10 games that you should probably buy. Starting out, we have ARMA 3, 66% off, bringing it down to $13.59, with the DLCs all being at either 66 or 20% off, bringing them all down to below $10 outside of Apex, which is $12. So I'm pretty sure I'm legally obligated to recommend ARMA 3 at this point in any video I do, because I've spent somewhere around 3,500 hours on ARMA 3. I mean, I work more than full time, and I still find time to play this game on pretty much an every other day basis. I'm addicted. ARMA 3 is a game with limitless capabilities. You can make artwork and screenshots, which is what I enjoy doing. You can do alt this life. There's fucking Flappy Bird for it. With the amount of mod support that this game has been getting and the platform updates, ARMA 3 is about as good as it's going to get, and it's thoroughly worth the money. I can't really recommend why you wouldn't, especially with the 64-bit, which means that the game runs significantly better. There's no reason not to pick ARMA up for $13. If you are going to pick up ARMA 3, pick up Apex at the very minimum, and then kind of just pick and choose the other DLCs as you will. Personally, I like Marksman because Marksman adds M14s to vanilla, but outside that, you can kind of just cherry pick the DLCs that you want. But again, it's ARMA 3. I mean, that's like 90% of what I've uploaded on this channel, so you kind of just gotta take my word for it. Next off, we have a Mountain Blade Warband for 75% off, bringing it down to $5. This is another one of those games with pretty much limitless possibilities. There's a huge modding scene for this game, and the core game itself is very, very good. The general premise of it is that it's more or less something like Total War, but instead of being an overhead general, you're on the front lines general, and you kind of just build up your army and become good at the combat yourself, and then you hire a bunch of overpowered mercenaries and take over castles. The game is really good, and it's generally addictive. I love it to no end. It's a very fun game. Graphically, it's not the best, but there are huge AI battles, which are just simply unrivaled in any other game. It's an amazing game, especially if you kind of like the Total War style of gaming, which is giant open battles. And again, with the modding scene, there's a bunch of good mods. I'm a fan of the War of the Rings mod and the Wild West mod, and for $5 you're going to get your money's worth. If you are going to pick up DLCs, I would probably recommend you just going ahead and spending an extra $5 to get both. Viking Conquest is a graphical update and generally just a platform update. The battles here aren't as huge and epic, but the game looks a whole hell of a lot better and plays a bit better. As well as Napoleonic Wars, which is a multiplayer-only expansion that allows you to play in part of the Napoleonic Wars. You just dick around with muskets and have instruments. It's a lot of fun. You can also go ahead and pick up the full collection if that's your thing for an extra couple dollars. It's the other Mountain Blades aren't all that good, but the original Mountain Blade does have the Star Wars mod, which is quite a bit of fun. Anyway, continue on to my next game. We have Fallout New Vegas for 67% off, bringing it down to $3. That's not even like, there's no reason not to own New Vegas at this point. What is essentially one of the best games ever made for $4 is just an absurdly low price. New Vegas is, like I said, it's one of the best games ever made. The writing here is just spectacular. The gameplay here and the graphics aren't on par with something like, say, Fallout 4, but outside that, the writing just doesn't, none of the other Fallout games compare. The world building is amazingly well done. The story is fantastic. I would choose this game over any of the other Elder Scrolls or Fallout games in a heartbeat. If you are going to pick up the game, I would go ahead and I'd just say, just spend the money on the New Vegas Ultimate Edition. The DLCs here are all pretty good. They're not necessary to enjoy the game, but if you do want to get into modding, it's best just to buy them now and avoid the modding conflicts, as well as to just go ahead and like buy it because it's $10 and the DLCs are all fantastic. You'll easily get 200 hours out of this game and enjoy every second of it. Next off, there's a game I haven't recommended for a while, but it's at such a deep discount, I figured why not. Stanley Parable for 75% off, bring it down to $3.74. The Stanley Parable is, it's definitely more of a kind of a, I don't even know how to describe it. It'd be something akin to like a TV show. It's very British humor, but it's very well done British humor, and I'm not even British in it. Jokes, but the Stanley Parable, it's less of a game and more of a kind of just experience. For $4, you're getting a bunch of just consistently good laughs, and this was one of the original walking simulators. You can find the HalfLife 2 demo, or the HalfLife 2 version for free if that's your thing, or you can just download the demo and you'll get more or less the same experience, but it's a fun $4. You'll spend 2 hours on about it, and you'll probably not forget about it. And that's about all there is to say. Next off, we have an obvious recommendation. That is The Witcher 3. I mean, it's 95% positive reviews. It's 50% off, bring it down to $20. But the deal is that you can also get the Game of the Year edition, which includes 2 of the best ever DLCs for the same price. So there's no reason not to buy this unless you're just not into adult games and RPGs in general. I know this game gets circle jerked to hell on everything, but at the end of the day, this is one of the very few games that truly deserves the circle jerk praise it gets. This is about as close to a perfect game as we will see until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. The combat here is amazing. It's something like Dark Souls, but more RPG-esque. The story here is one of the best I've written, and the main thing here is the developers. CD Projekt Red are effectively the best game developers ever. They're actively supporting their game, even though the game is 2 or 3 years old at this point. The game looks, and they're still supporting it. They give out free DLCs consistently. They're consistently updating it. And at this point, again, 2 or 3 years later, it's a mirror shine of a game with 2 of the best DLCs they'll ever play. If you own the game or are on the fence about buying the DLCs, just buy the DLCs because you get tons of you get something like 15 hours out of it for the huge price of $5 for Heart of Stone and $10 for Blood and Wine, and you get endless things. This is the best game ever made. Why don't you own it already? Next off, we have another really good discount on another one of my favorite games of all time, Far Cry 3. 66% discount, bringing it down to just under $7. It's Far Cry. This is a game that I've consistently recommended in every one of these videos. I will consistently do that. It's by far the best Far Cry game ever made. I played all the other ones, and this one just stands the testament to time as being really, really good. The story here is immaculate. The gameplay here is great and enjoyable. Everything here is just great. It's an experience, and it's the only game I've ever 100% completed. There's no reason not to buy it, again, unless you're just not into more adult, well-polished games. But let's continue on with these adult, well-polished games, and do recommend the Metro Redux bundle. It's 75% off, bringing it down to $10. Not the deepest discount, to be fair, but it's still a hell of a discount on 2 really, really good games. In the Redux bundle, you'll get access to Metro Last Light and Metro 2033, both the Redux versions because the originals got pulled from the Steam store. Metro is it's about as distinctly Russian/Ukraine as it gets. The gameplay just has the perfect amount of jank. The setting is just has the perfect amount of depression thrown in, and it's a great looking game, and it's a great story that's, like I said, just very distinctly Eastern enough to make it enjoyable. Overall, it's kind of hard to find flaws with these games and to see whether they're not worth $6 because each game is, to be fair, a bit short, with each one lasting about 7 hours. But outside that, they're great experiences. Not really horror, more as survival and good shooters. But it's hard to describe games like this. You just gotta buy it for $10, and you'll thank me later. Continuing on, we have one that isn't a deep adult dark RPG. It's Civ 5. I'm recommending it. I don't necessarily enjoy Civ 5. The game has a lot of problems. I don't think it's deep enough. That said, I consistently come and play it with my friends every year or two, and we spend 150 hours on it. And it's Civ 5. It's 75% off, bring it down to $7.50. If you are going to buy it, buy the complete edition. At the bare minimum, you're going to want Brave New World and Gods and Kings. But again, it's an extra $5 and you get a great thing. Buy it with some friends and you'll thank me later. I would say get this one over the other Civs because it's cheaper. And it's pretty much the best one until Civ 6 comes out with some good DLC. Next off, we have a not very deep discount, but one of my favorite games as well, which is Superhot, 40% off, bring it down to $15. Superhot is effectively the only innovation in the first-person shooter genre that we've had in a long time. Time only moves when you do, or rather, time moves very, very slowly when you do. And the result is kind of like Hotline Miami, but if it was pause and play. And I love it to death because the procedurally generated arcade mode is just a hell of a lot of fun because the learning curve isn't necessarily steep, but once you get a level perfected, it looks and feels so good to play. Again, the price tag is a bit steep for what you're getting, which is ultimately maybe 10 or 12 hours out of gameplay, but past that, it's a super enjoyable game. It's kind of a very unique one. There's also Superhot Mind Control Delete, but that one was on sale and it's also in early access, so, but this is like the definitive game, and if you have VR, this is a very definitive, like, it's the VR game to buy, but I don't have a VR headset because I'm poor, so, anyway, Superhot. Final game is something I figure I might as well recommend because I don't have that many more games to recommend, and that is the Hitman Essential Collection for 69% off, bringing it down to $30 or $32. Now, in the Hitman Essential Collection, you basically get access to the older Hitmans, which are okay. Blood Money doesn't stand up all that well. Hitman Absolution's complete shit. But you get access to all the Hitman things for a pretty good price, the Hitman episodes. I love the Hitman 2012 or 2016. It's a great thing. I think it's arguably one of the best stealth games ever made. It's just, again, a lot of these games are hard to describe where they're good because they're just so good. Here you get access to endless replayability of some of the best Hitman levels ever made. You can also kind of prep for the new Hitman, which looks amazing, and it's a good game. Again, not the best discount, but it's a hell of a good game for $30. So anyway, with all that being said, that's my conclusion. I don't really have that much more to talk about. Again, buy ARMA, buy Warband, buy New Vegas, buy The Witcher, and buy Far Cry, and buy Metro. Buy all of them. Hitman is pretty much the only one that you can miss. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Like, favorite, unsubscribe, and discomment. And I'll see you all in the next one.